Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, good evening and welcome to another episode of Trudge Report. This is a recovery-based podcast, but don't worry, if you're not sober or you're not ready to be sober or you're overtaking Christmas Disneyland like Corey, we talk about plenty of other things, including sports, trending topics, and a good bit of nonsense. My name is Sean and I am your host. I'm joined by my good friends and fellow trudgers, Corey, Greg, and Dan. Please remember to listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Videos will be posted each week so you can watch episodes on YouTube and Facebook. But as always, please be sure to download on your listening platforms. Remember to like and subscribe on all social media outlets with the handle at Trudge Report Pod. We are brought to you by Stella Mix Podcast Management and our wonderful producer and editor, Miss Janine Stella. Corey, you look like you have something to say right away. Go ahead.
I don't have anything to say except
no.
Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas. We will.
Way too early.
Yeah, way too early. Way too early.
Do not start.
Boys, this is my time.
Dude,
this is my time to
shine.
Skipped
over a whole holiday.
No, Greg. I didn't skip over it. This is the thing. We celebrate Christmas from November 1st to this year. It's to the 26th. And then we'll have Thanksgiving. We'll allow Friday to be Thanksgiving as well. You know, but after that, it's back to Christmas until Christmas is over. And then we get on with the saddest time of the year, which is New Year's.
No, this
do you
is
guys get sad
from now until Thanksgiving. This is post Halloween. Okay, this is what that is.
I don't get sad. I actually love January. January 2nd might be my favorite day of the year.
Why?
Because everything starts to get back to normal. And I love the holidays. Don't get me wrong. I love the holidays, but it's a wild time. And everything starts to get back to normal. The kids can get back to school soon. Just get back to routine. January 2nd, baby.
I'm with you, Sean. I mean, because I travel, for the holidays. I'm gone for like a week, and then school's off, and everything's crazy and haywire, and all it is money coming out 6,000 times, and then you get back, and then you get back to the routine, and things start getting back to normal. I'm super routine oriented, like anything to do with travel or anything like that. Where it's if things go awry, I'm a lot more comfortable in my own skin when things are routine.
I'm just saying, like, I get a little sad because it's like, okay, another year's over, like another year in the past, it's all gone.
It's a new year.
Boy, you're like 15, dude. You're like so young.
I'm gonna be 30. I'm gonna be 30 next month.
Grab the balls of the new year. Grab the balls and go for it. The new year, new adventures, new adventures. I can't think of another word to say. New stuff going on.
I'll grab some balls. All right.
Jingle bells.
You gotta use two hands though.
I do.
They're little hands. Right.
The disability.
How you doing, Greg?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Had a successful Halloween. And,
how'd the party go?
It was good, man. It was really good. We had 3 different kinds of homemade soup. Well, 2 in a one store bought, but it was all delicious. And yeah, man, had all the kids, took them trick or treating. Noticed not nearly as many trick-or-treaters out this year, which actually worked out to my advantage because we had a half a bowl of candy left when I got back. So
I love it.
Yeah, I got so much effing candy in my house right now. It's not even funny.
But yeah, we dressed up. We got asked by a couple people, "Oh, are you guys the couple that dresses up every year?" And I'm like, yeah, we're nerds. Yep, that's who.
Oh, you got a moniker. That's amazing.
So, yeah,
we enjoy life. You mean? Yeah, that's us.
Yeah, exactly. I took all the heat for it. I said it's the little kid in me. You know what I'm saying? I can't stop, and I won't stop.
Absolutely.
Get it.
Good stuff. Corey, how was your Halloween with the kids?
It was good. Like I said, we were Toy Story, and I was a great buzz. I saved the fucking galaxy, and all as well. Plenty of candy, and it's just phenomenal. But can I get your?
Where'd you go? Did you do your neighborhood?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. We went to Martin's Crossings first, though. That HOA is popping every year.
Mm-hmm.
But then we came around here a little bit, and there was people out. It just wasn't.
Wait,
as
they
busy.
let you back into Martin County just for Halloween?
Dude, I'm Martin County's favorite son.
I'm gonna have to talk to somebody about that. You're a St. Lucie County cat now, man. We can't be having that.
Hey, can I ask an opinion real quick of you guys?
Oh, I'd love to.
I'm putting people on blast here, but I'm not going to name them.
Let's
and
go.
not that it even matters because
I love
you guys don't even know them. But I need an opinion here. So we talked to some people today that they made a deal with their child, who is around 4, that if they gave up all of their Halloween candy, that they could buy a toy from the store instead. And I think
that's
awful.
Yeah, so this is commonly referred to up here as the switch witch. Okay, they call it the switch.
Oh,
witch.
it's a thing. It's an actual thing.
I guess
I didn't
it's
know
a
it was a
thing.
thing.
I think I could be wrong on that. I'll have to check with my fiance, but I believe one of her friends did it last year, and they called it the switch witch, where the child who was young got like an iPhone or something like that instead of their candy. Maybe it wasn't an iPhone. Maybe I'm wrong. But it was something expensive
regardless
in place of the candy. The way I look at this, if you want my my unnecessary opinion, is this is America, and we do not negotiate with terrorists. Okay,
Yeah.
So, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, they are not able to. They don't have a fully developed frontal lobe. They can't. We don't argue with terrorists, dude. We just don't do it.
And the normal parental standard, as we have been doing with Maya and with my son, is they get the candy, and you may have 1 or 2 pieces today, and that's the end.
right
There's-
moderation.
There's no switching out for other things or anything like that.
What's the point?
And also, you ruining childhood. You go to Halloween to
Yes.
get candy.
Yeah.
Also,
Innocence is lost on the youth, boys.
a very important lesson to teach with Halloween is the lesson of, hey kids, this is how the government screws mom and dad, and you tax their candy. It's the adult tax. We're just going to take.
It's just wild.
I'm not sure my kids would go for that, dude. Grace would be like, look at this big ass bucket of candy I have, and you're telling me I can have 1 toy?
Yeah, Maya wouldn't have it.
That math doesn't add up.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, it would have to be
Peyton-
something wild.
Peyton scored like 12.5 pounds of candy, dude. Like, no joke.
Dude,
I've got 2 huge
Insane.
pumpkin buckets of candy, like huge. So good stuff. How was Maya's Halloween, Dan?
It was good. Yeah, it was freezing, up here. I don't know how it was for you, Greg, but it was 40 and rainy.
Gorgeous here.
Yeah, you guys had.
Absolutely gorgeous.
I really am jealous for that. 'Cause we've had 2 rainy ones in a row, and it's like 40 degrees. But no, I mean, she had a blast. We went around for 45 minutes, and Alyssa always gets mad at me because I'm what they call an inviter, I guess. You know how I am with strangers. So all the people walking around,
come hang out with us.
Yeah, I'm just talking. I'm talking to all
on.
these. Yeah. She was good. So she's like, "Can you please stop being the inviter tonight?" But yeah. Then Maya saw a couple of her friends. We stayed out for like an hour and a half and stuff, and she had a blast. We got some candy, and then she was tired at the end. She was like, "I want to go home." But she did ask the night before, was like, is it okay if I go with my friends? I don't want to go with you guys anymore. And that made me kind of sad. You're 8.
No.
Yeah.
It's happening,
Not
dude.
yet.
I know.
happening.
No, man, no. But it was good. It was good.
We go to the same friends neighborhood every year. They're in recovery with us. We've known them. Sophia and their oldest daughter have been friends since like 2 years old, and there's always some other friends, and their neighborhood goes off. It's over in Jensen Quarry. I won't name the neighborhood just because, but
I know where you're talking about.
Yeah, they do it big every year to the point where they have local county sheriffs there, and you have to have a parking pass like to get in because people just come from far and wide. I mean, they really go above and beyond. It's pretty cool. But we go there every year, and our friends that host, lovely people. Shout out to Joe and Sarah Ashdale, the Ashdales. And they invited other people, which they normally do. And they invited a couple from the kids' school. They have 6 kids and 1 on the way, and it was just absolute pandemonium. But they were really cool. Shannon and Brennan were their names. The parents, just kids everywhere. And then there was a couple. It was a lot going on, but it was fun. And then we go back to their house for food and kind of like a Halloween party and stuff. And Grace was. When we got back to the house, she stood outside with the bowl of candy for like 2.5 hours and was like, took charge, 2 pieces only, no more, You're not. She was, dude. I was so proud of her. She was awesome. Her and the other girl that's her age, Abigail. They just the entire night were out there. It was great.
Dude, we got back just in time for me to pretend to be like the old man that hands out candy instead of goes trick or treating. I really enjoyed that. That's something I'm looking forward to in life, is sitting there handing out candy. Also, Sean, I ran into Michael,
Michael
listener of the show. I ran into Michael.
at Martin's Crossings.
Shout out to Michael.
I think his wife's sister, somebody lives in there.
Okay, yeah, they were handing out candy, and then obviously
Michael, how was that interaction? Was he dressed up?
No, he was dressed up as himself,
which is pretty scary already. So
yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, so I had lunch with him the other day. It was good. It's a good time. It was a very one-sided conversation as it normally is, but I always enjoy his company. He makes me laugh and smile.
No, he's a good dude, man. Yeah, absolutely.
He listens to every episode.
He does. Avid listener. Shout out to you, Michael.
See him once a week, and he asks me questions. So
very good. What else, guys? Anything else? Hey, we got to give a quick shout out. Epic Game 7 last night, World Series. I was so emotionally up and down, high and low. It was absolute wild ride.
Yeah, I mean that game was just. I might have. I mean, I don't think in my lifetime really. I mean, besides Luis Gonzalez breaking my heart, Game 7. But that was one moment. You know what I mean? Like that game from what was it, the 7th inning on?
The whole series.
Yeah, but that game, like the defensive plays, Varsho, the dive in center with the bases loaded. I mean, it's just like good baseball. You know what I mean? Like a defense, offense, everything, pitching. It's just managers. Like it was just good baseball, and it's just like something to see that. It really is. I was so into it.
Yep, LA Dodgers repeat champions. No one's repeated since the Yankees. Or no, the Phillies did it in what, like 2009, 2010?
No. The Yankees, 98 through 2000.
Yeah.
Really? I thought the Phillies got back to the World Series that second year.
Yeah, they didn't win it. Yeah. No, the Yankees were the last.
Yep. So good stuff. Onwards and upwards. So shall we get into it? Main topic, boys, recovery?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's talk recovery.
So if anybody remembers kind of all of our longtime avid listeners and followers, when we kind of first started this about a year and 10 months ago, year and 9 months ago, we kind of all went through our journeys of recovery and the recovery work we do, and just the healing internally, externally, the growing towards God, restitution to those harmed, like get all the stuff that is involved in the recovery process, or at least specifically the recovery process that the four of us choose and in the rooms like that. We're going to kind of go back through that, but we're going to add some new flair to it and change things up a little bit. We're a little more seasoned at this. We've been through this once, and we're excited to kind of bring you our stories a little bit, and it's going to come out in snippets, but specifically what we're doing is we're laying out a pathway and guidelines to recovery and to sobriety. So if anybody out there, a lot of people that listen can probably relate to our journeys and our paths, but if you're out there and you're struggling a little bit, or you're not really sure, hopefully some of the stuff we say and our experience that we share can help you forge a path to recovery. So got some questions here. We're gonna get right into it. We're going to start. Dan, I'm going to start with you. And here's the first question. I want to know, and we'll go around. I want to know where you were at your absolute bottom, like right before you got sober. And that could be like the days leading up to sobriety, or that last year or weeks or months, or just kind of like tell us, don't hold back any detail. Tell us what life was like right before you got sober.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I would probably start with because it all leads up to a certain event, like in the end where I was. But, when I finally got fired from my job in May of 2015, right? In May, I got fired from my job, and then I lost my purpose of that everything was okay, and that was always for me, like the whole biggest thing was that like everything was okay. So I still had stuff, I still had a job, and I had all these things. So I got fired from my job. And then I totaled my motorcycle. I was going down the road doing about 70 because my mom got in a car accident. And so I was going like 70 on US 1, and some guy pulled out in front of me and just stopped dead right in the middle of the road. So I had to jump off my motorcycle, totaled that, and ended up being okay from that. Had a fractured ankle, nothing crazy. And then I got $9,000 for that bike. And I was like, oh, great, because at this moment in time, I was pretty much about to get divorced at my house, and everything was going to winding towards the drain. And so I took that 9 grand, and I was like, oh, this is going to set me up, and I'm do things. And I blew all that in about 2 weeks, all on substances. And then just slowly kept coming up with these ideas and these things that I could fix it, I can do this, I can make things better. All I need to do is I need to do this. And eventually it just came to a point where I got kicked out of my house. And in the very, very end, right before I came down to Florida, and I had my moment, you know what I mean, where it was like the turning point of my life. Ended up getting kicked out of my house, and I was at one of my cousin's empty apartments, homeless on the street for like 3 days, eating like Cheez-Its, and but still waking up in the morning, not like, all right, I need to, fix this. How can I find some money so I can go
Right.
get high so then I can fix my life? But I gotta get high first. You know what I mean? And that was my absolute bottom right there, was just sitting on that floor, and and still pondering how I need to get high, not what I need to do, and that's definitely was where I absolutely was at the super lowest point right before I made the decision to go to Florida.
Yep. Nice. Corey, what about you? What was your where were you at your absolute bottom?
I was right where I thought I'd never be, I guess, which was essentially homeless. And like it was that time of the year in New Jersey where it is like stupid cold at night, but in the daytime you can't be wearing a sweater or anything. So I was walking around Camden, New Jersey a lot, with a bunch of sweaters and stuff that were like given to me by like probably church people that wanted me to like turn to God or something.
Taking pity on your soul.
Yeah, handed me sandwiches and shit like I gave a rat's ass. And then but yeah, I'd
I
have
think
to
I can eat right now.
yeah, dude, it was wild. But um yeah, I mean it was just it was a whole mess. It was everything that you guys are familiar with as far as like the family wanted nothing to do with me, you know. They all did me the absolute favor of like stopping answering the phone, which I sold, by the way. I sold my phone for like $20 one night. But if I borrowed a phone and called them, they weren't really down to talk or anything. And then like my friends who um were either what I thought was as bad as me or worse, they didn't even want to hang out with me anymore because I was so far gone. So it was very lonely. It was rock bottom per se. Was very lonely, and I don't know. Yeah, I that was like we always talk about like the nevers, right? That'll never happen to me. And like literally, my idea of the drug addict or alcoholic was like the homeless man that was
The Bowery bum. Shout
yeah,
out to Glenn.
looking like a zombie and whatever. And I
Yeah.
don't know,
Brown
like,
paper bag under the bridge kind of thing.
exactly. I was like 120 pounds. I didn't know what I looked like at all because I hadn't seen a mirror in forever anyway. But I was very
Did you
scruffy.
still think you looked good though? Were you like, yeah?
Well,
I look
yeah,
good.
dude. It's funny you say that. Months before that, when I wasn't as homeless, I was only a little homeless. I did like I took a picture. I took like a selfie in the mirror in like a black tank top, and I was like, ooh, look how fucking skinny I am. And like I remember my friend Kayla, she was like, you look so sick in that picture. Why did you post that? And I'm like, what do you, I look great. She was like, no, dude,
Corey,
you
Look
look
how
bad.
chiseled I look.
Corey-
I'm chiseled, dude.
Corey, I get those Facebook memories, man, and in those pictures, man, I'm like, dude, I'm so fly, and I was like, dude, I look like an Ethiopian that hasn't eaten in weeks.
It's rough.
Like, it's so bad.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's essentially where I was, dude. I
Alright.
was homeless and alone.
Good stuff. Greg, what about you?
Oh yeah, man. I was rough. I do like what Dan said. One of the things I think that kept me going for so long was the thought that, or well, the fact that I always had a job, and there at the end for the last like 3 years of my runs and leading up to me getting sober, like I worked for a very prestigious restaurant group here in Cleveland. They own like 7 restaurants, 2 5-star restaurants, and I ran several of their operations. So the illusion of success, or at least the feeling of the rest of my life's burning to the ground, but I still got a great job to go to every day. And meanwhile, like I think I'm putting on this facade for everybody else around me, but yeah, like anyone who knows me can see it. Like I'm slipping in all areas of my life. But yeah, and then I thought that I tried to get sober on my own power, did not work. I constantly be trying to detox myself in my bedroom for 2 days on end. I would always go back to it. I thought that I had done rehab because I had gone to the charity detox 3 years in a row up here at St. Vincent's, and bugged out after 3 days and said I'm great and I'm fine. And then not even 24 hours goes by and I'm calling up my dope man, or going and searching it out. But yeah, all that culminated in like one night the jig was just up. I couldn't stop. I was driving myself insane trying to do it. I had stolen the last little bit of stuff that I would steal from my family. I was going to be out on the street again. And I said, well, this is it. And I proceeded to, shoot as much dope as I've ever shot in my life. And, and a means to take my own life, and it didn't work. Woke up the next day. And that was rock bottom right there. I can't even kill myself, right? So that was it, man. And thankfully, I just Googled heroin rehab, I think, or something like that. And I got a phone number, and the young lady on the other end of the phone, man, she was on the phone with me for a couple hours talking about stuff, and
that could have taken you to a lot of different directions there, Greg.
It could have. It very well could have. You're right. It was the first thing that popped up on Google, and a day later I was in Florida.
Nice.
Dude, real quick, Sean, the three of us have had the pleasure of getting on a plane and coming to Florida for rehab. Does anybody else feel extremely lucky that
that all worked?
That we weren't like trafficked.
Yeah. Well,
nobody wanted us, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, true.
Well, maybe Corey, he could be useful there somewhere. But
I was pretty back in the day. I just told you about the tank
New
top,
Jersey
dude.
Kurt Cobain.
Corey, I was gonna ask too, because Greg just said so. Greg, it was just all on your own reconnaissance. You searched it and lined it up and did all that.
Literally all I did was Google heroin rehab, and like a number popped up, and then they facilitated everything. Like, because let me preface this by saying I had, prior to all this, in the months leading up to it, had tried to get into rehab up here, like a legit rehab, and they wanted like the one really nice place. I won't call them out by name, but they are a nice spot up here.
Yeah, no free ads.
Right. They wanted $6,000 up front. I'm like, bro, I'm a junkie. I don't have $6.
Like, God, that leads me into such a different philosophical conversation that we won't get into tonight. But yeah.
So thank God, like they paid for my plane ticket, or I had to sign a promissory note. But they
you didn't care. You would think it could have said anything.
Yeah, anything to get me out of here. And
give me your left testicle.
They would, whatever.
But I will say the young lady on the phone, she was like awesome. Like I said, like it. She literally like hung out on the phone with me, and she'd say, okay, I gotta go talk to so-and-so, give me 5 minutes. We just gotta, make sure, because thankfully I had insurance at the time, so it made all that a lot easier. But she was like, you could tell that there was somebody on the other end of the phone that actually gave a shit. Hopefully, maybe that's just my wishful thinking, but
In hindsight, it doesn't really matter because she got you down. She got you where you needed to
Right.
go.
Right.
So, I guess I never really thought about it that way, Corey. I was already in Florida.
Yeah.
I never have been to rehab. I've never been to detox. I have been hospitalized many times. I've been Baker acted. I've been in and out of jail, but yeah, I've never done the get on a plane and come to Florida thing. I was already in Florida. Um, I would say it was about the last 9 or 10 months of my addiction. I was in and out of my dad's house, so I was like in and out of periodic homelessness, and I mean like some legit like on the street homelessness, and then like the kind of homelessness where I was like couch surfing or staying in a pay by the hour motel that we would maybe pay for a day or two, maybe even like when we really had a little money, it was like you get paid for a week. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about it for 4 or 5 days. Um, I was I was peeing out of my bedroom window when I was at my dad's house simply so that I didn't have to go through the living room and have a conversation with my dad. Like that's what I was kind of doing. I would like just sneak in and out of the window, or just out of the back door when he was asleep. Um, I was, you know, all personal hygiene was gone, like seriously gone. I can still remember, and it irks me to my hair was a lot longer than it is now. And it wasn't long by any means, but it was longer, and hadn't showered in days, so it'd have that like oily, greasy like feel and look to it. And I would like stare in the mirror, and I could see all like the blackheads. It just was nasty, just from unkemptness, and but I don't know, I didn't have the desire or energy. I don't know, getting up and taking a shower and putting on clean clothes. Oh God, it took so much effort, honestly, which I know sounds wildly crazy, but it did. It took so much effort. I like I said, I didn't go to detox, but my parents were in a recovery fellowship solely dedicated to the family and friends of us alcoholics. So, like the people that we make really sick in our lives, our family, our parents, our friends, they were part of that. And they met a lady who was extremely helpful to them, whose son was in a halfway house up in Jensen. And I kind of just did that. I had detoxed for quite a few days at my dad's house from some of the really hard stuff I was on, and which, medically in hindsight, like not a smart idea. But you've heard me say it before. Like my dad, he slapped some Chinese foot pads on the bottom of those detox foot pads that pull the toxins out of your body on the bottom of my feet, and basically said like, sleep it off, whatever. And um, I ended up at the halfway house and stuff. But it was, I can remember like a week, 4 or 5 days before I went, my mom for some reason was at my dad's house, and they came in the room on me, and I was like sitting crisscross applesauce on the floor, and I had one of those breakfast in bed trays on my lap. It had like the pillow underneath, and there was a tray on top, where you could either eat breakfast in bed, or like you could like put a notebook and write on it, like a pillow on your lap. And I remember sitting, and I had like all my shit on this tray, and I'm just like, for all of you who never watched this, I was like nodding out over my tray, like drooling, tongue hanging out, like
I'm
just a
mentally
mess.
imaging this right now. It's making
Oh,
me
dude, I
crack
mean, you
up.
guys know it is just like that, just that horrible like scratching, all that stuff. And I'll never forget, my mom took a picture of it and like showed me, a couple days later. I don't know, and it was just, it had that moment of clarity. And that wasn't even when I got sober, but a little bit later, a few days later. And I ended up at the halfway house through a really a not extravagant way. I really just like found the number, called the number, then like was like, oh, maybe never mind, had second thoughts, and then just had like a moment of clarity on the bed, and was just like, man, if you don't do something now, I don't know if like I'll have the desire to do something again. Like I might just not have the willingness or the effort or the desire. And I remember going out into the living room, it was like the middle of the afternoon, waking my dad up so he could hear me on, like sit next to me while I'm on the phone with these people. So I had some accountability. And the next day I was sleeping at this halfway house. But yeah, I was a mess, dude. I was an absolute mess. So I got a fun one, and I'm gonna go first, and then we'll kind of go reverse order. And it can kind of tie into two, but the wildest thing we did to get money. one of the most crazy stories you did to get money, which can also tie into like what are some of the shady and grimy things we did in our addictions before we got sober, but specifically the money thing. Guys, I stayed. This. I don't. I think I'm sure I've told some of you guys this story. Ask my dad. I staged my own kidnapping to try to get money from my dad. Have I ever told you this story, Corey?
I don't know that I
Okay.
remember.
I don't know.
Man, that's
I don't know
amazing.
why I've forgotten it. But so long story short, he didn't give me money. It didn't work. But I went through all kinds of. So I was living with the woman that was much older than me, which you've heard me tell that part of my story, and her cousin, who was an absolute. I mean, he was a absolute maniac. Sorry, Mark, if you're listening out there somewhere, like, and not the Mark we know, but maybe there's a correlation with that first name.
Could be.
Absolute maniac. And I was like, I had this bright idea. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like stage my own kidnapping, and my dad's gonna pay the ransom for me, you know. And I'm like, this is how crazy. So I had this guy Mark punch me in the face like 4 or 5 times, black my eye, bust my cheek open. I had them take rope around, like rope burns around my wrist, like that, and then like calling my dad and pretending like I was in the back of a kidnapped van because I owed these drug dealers money. And if I don't pay them, and I don't remember exactly how much money I was asking for, but for some reason I want to say it was $350. I don't know why,
Oh man, your worth is that's not good, man.
but it was like I couldn't ask for an astronomical amount, obviously. So I was
Yeah,
like, what would be realistic, you know,
yeah,
and
it
all
needs to
that
be
stuff.
gettable.
And in my mind, $350 was realistic. So I'll never forget. And he like, of course, he's like hesitant. He's not budging. He's not biting. I'm like, Dad, da, 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 they're gonna this and they're gonna hurt me and blah blah blah. And he was working part time at the vitamin shop in Boynton Beach, Florida at the time. I was living in like the Delray area, and I remember like showing up at the vitamin shop to like prove to him I had all these wounds and stuff, and they were like out in the car and they were gonna come back and get me, and like
Oh my God.
totally, you know, that's like I don't know why I've never, but yeah, and he did not give me the money, thank God, but
Yeah, he didn't buy that, huh?
no, he didn't buy
Yeah,
that, and I
I don't
thought it
know
was,
why.
I thought it was effing foolproof, like I was like, this is brilliant.
100%.
Right.
So I digress. Let's go back. Let's kick it back to you, Greg. Wildest thing to get money, shady, grimy things you were doing.
I was
know.
a lot. Embezzlement comes to mind.
Ooh, I like that white collar.
Legit embezzlement from a company I worked at for quite a few years, and thankfully like I was able to go back early on in my sobriety and make amends for that. And while they weren't necessarily like very happy to see me, it was a huge weight lifted off of my shoulders because,
Mhm.
you know, as we talk about, man, we're only as free as we want to be. We can't truly be free if we're running around with a monkey of fear on our back, right? So, but I've already, I think, gotten into that whole story on this pod before. However, I will say certainly one of the more comical ones now, 10 years removed, but not so comical at the time if you think about it, is I figured out how to pick locks. Okay.
Ooh.
Nice.
And like I taught myself how to pick locks, and I started with paper clips and everything like that. And because my parents, they had this safe, and they were relegated to keeping their medications and their valuables in this safe because
Wonder why that was.
yeah, right. And I will say that they are absolute saints for dealing with what they dealt with me, because
I
they
think all of our parents were, for sure.
the truest example of love and tolerance is I have no further to look than at them, because they were very, very loving and tolerant as much as they could be for a lot longer than they needed to be. But I learned how to pick the lock on the safe with a paper clip, and then I graduated to ordering from eBay at the time, because Amazon wasn't really even around, not like it is today, a lock picking set. And I would so I had like this area of Cleveland, which if you're my shade, you don't really necessarily belong in unless you're there for one of two reasons.
What shade is that? Pale and slightly red?
Ginger.
What?
But yeah, so I would bounce around between a couple of different neighborhoods, and kind of develop a business relationship with some dope boys on the corner. And what I would do is I would like stake them out like I'm some kind of like junkie Serpico or something like that. And I'd stake them out and I'd wait for them to leave, and I would go I'd pick locks to their houses, man, and get in and steal their shit. And it is an absolute wonder to me that I am not dead because of that, man. I mean, because that's just absolutely insane, right? And he definitely got into a couple really close calls. One time I got into one of those situations where it's it was a physical altercation, and I had to get the hell out of there before I got shot in the back. So certainly very, very crazy things. Like I said, comical now.
Right.
Sure, but yeah, not so much then.
I was Greg, I never got the lockpick set or learn that. But I was a thief as well, man. I got into some major trouble being a thief and stealing from the wrong people and getting pistol whipped and just wild stuff, stuff. I'll never forget being held up at gunpoint like the first and second time getting robbed, and how scary it is, right? Like legitimate, my life is on line. I'm scared. I pissed my pants almost. Like I'm really scared. But then the more it keeps happening, it didn't happen dozens of times, but I probably got, I don't know, good 5 or 6 times maybe.
Yeah. Or just even those times where, maybe you're early on in the drug game, and you meet up with one guy who's going to take you to meet another guy or whatever, and you walk into the house and it's the first time you see an AR sitting on the table, and you're like, this is real.
It's like normal to them. But after the first couple times of getting held up at gunpoint, it goes from I'm not scared for my life anymore. Now I'm just pissed because now all my drugs are about to be taken from me and my money, and now I have to figure out a way to go get high again. I'm not my life goes out the window. I'm now just pissed because I'm getting robbed again, and that's not normal, I would imagine. So.
And I think the main thing with that too is kind of what you're talking about, but what some normal people might not understand is when the gears start turning, right? When we're sick and we don't have money and we've exhausted all of our close personal means of getting money, and the gears are going, dude, those little, harebrained schemes seem absolutely 100% foolproof.
Brilliant ideas.
And then the execution, not so much, right?
It's wild too, because the ideas are only going to last for a day or two, the money wise. and literally we just do the same thing every single day and come up with these brilliant, great, But Greg, I'm definitely writing down in my notebook that you can pick locks just in case needed down the road.
There you go.
Yeah.
Corey, what about you? Craziest thing you did to get money, grimy things you were doing out on the mean streets of Camden?
It's all very similar. Honestly, I'm sitting here thinking how fucking boring I am, actually.
You could pick locks with those hands.
You could get into your male prostitution stories if you want. I mean,
that's for another day.
That happened in sobriety.
Yeah, that was early in TCR, so.
He was running a prostitution ring out of the Stewart bowling alley.
Right. Don't fucking tell people about that, dude. No, mine's, I guess, I don't know. To get money, I don't know. It's all the same stuff. The manipulation and all that stuff. It's not really that crazy to us. I think the only thing that come to mind that really got my heart beating is very similar, kind of, to Greg's. And by the way, I have I know we all probably feel the same, but that inner city drug addict that that dealt with the open air drug markets and stuff. I have such a love for that in a weird sentimental way, because I know exactly, dude, the first time I got brought to Camden, New Jersey, and realized that people were just selling drugs as if it was fucking eBay or just Publix, hey, here's a sample, I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. So, but anyway, the one story that comes to mind is, I think it was like the first time that we beat one of those drug dealers that was just like an open air, drug dealer. However, I did get his phone number previously. So we had texted him, me and a couple friends who one is gone mad, the other one's dead. We were driving up to Camden and texted this guy and said something like, we need a bundle or something. Now, meanwhile, we have $20. We have a $20 bill. And I asked him for a bundle, which, if you're not familiar, it depends on where you're from and what the deal is. But I should have had $100 in this case for that drug dealer. I did not. I had $20. So we decided that, I mean, it worked perfectly. We came up with the plan that we were going to like drive up to him and like freak out and be like, oh my God, there's a fucking cop right around the corner. There's a cop. Hurry up. And like get him to do the transaction quickly. And we did that. Did exactly that. Came off perfectly. He gave us, actually, I don't know if he gave us the whole bundle, but that's not important. He gave us way more than $20. And then we drove off. We sped off. He called us twice after that. And then he gave up because he knew exactly what happened and whatever. I was scared to death. I was scared to death. I was in the back seat of the car, just scared to death. But I had to hand him like the 20 or whatever and freak out, whatever, and act the part, whatever. The one thing afterwards, though, that we were like left wondering to ourselves is, why the fuck did we not hand him like a dollar bill? Why did we even give him the 20? You know what I mean? Like we could have used that the next day. I don't know, but that scared the shit out of me. And I've never, Sean, you're so cool, dude. I've never been robbed at gunpoint. I've been robbed, but not at gunpoint.
No? Oh man, you haven't. You're probably not done yet,
so-
Corey.
What did they rob you with? A dildo? Like
Yeah, with the little face slap.
The eggplant emoji, actually. No, dude, we were walking. We had, my buddy stole a audio kit or something from AutoZone or some shit, and we were just walking down the road, and a couple guys just jumped in front of us and.
What did they stop? What did they do there?
Pure muscle, dude. Just
Yeah,
muscle.
what happened?
No, they just literally took it from my dude and was like, "Fuck, get out of here, dude."
That was the end.
We're like, "Oh shit!"
Guy flexed the pack, and that was it.
They would have killed us. They would have absolutely killed us.
You're not living unless you've been pistol whipped a couple times there, bud.
I've never been pistol whipped.
It doesn't. I don't know. Maybe the people that pistol whipped me were like PUSSYs. It doesn't hurt as bad as I always thought it did. Like it hurts.
But here's the thing about here's the thing,
bad.
Sean. Here's the thing about, and I guess this isn't that important, but here's the thing about the open air drug market is the guy on the corner is not often carrying a gun.
Correct. Yeah.
Very, very rarely. So like robbing that guy by driving up in the car, even though I was scared shitless because I'm actually,
you knew he wasn't going to have a pistol.
He wasn't gonna. Yeah, we weren't gonna. Yeah. So
the South Florida drug market was definitely a little different than that. It's not open air. You're going into, apartment you're going into, whatever.
Some Haitian village in Overtown.
No, you're pulling into the one way in, one way out. That's it. That's how you know it's real.
The cops
Dan,
are
what
way
about you?
scarier.
Yeah. I mean, that's to me, man. I was just gonna say, I've never been pistol whipped from a robbery, but the cops hurt. Those fucking guys hurt.
They're trained to do it.
Those slapjacks, man, and stuff. Those things hurt. I can guarantee you that one. I mean, for me, it's pretty actually. Well, it's two things, So I would say probably one of the most grimiest things that I would do is sitting by ATM machines and looking for weak targets.
Oh,
and
wow.
And as soon as they would, as soon as you heard the money pop out and you heard that bing, 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 and it was more than one bill or something like that, then I would just come right up to the car and I would proceed myself to their dollars. And sometimes it works and sometimes it didn't, but we don't care about the sometimes it didn't, So, And then the craziest probably life could have been life ending a couple times, I would say. Climbing 200 feet, no belt on, no nothing, with tools. And because of my job, I knew things that were not being used anymore. And then I could go to said scrapyard and return those things. So I would just climb up this tower at like 200 feet in this 30-mile-per-hour winds in the middle of the daytime, like no one's going to see me, and remove the items from the tower, climb back down, and go return them to the scrapyard. I mean, that was probably the craziest thing that I look back on. Then I was like, "What are you doing with your life, man? Like that's just insanity, like total
Dude.
insanity."
The
Dude, I got-
scrapyard, Dan. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I know a buddy of mine who works for First Energy, and he has like 3 or 4 times a year, like dudes get fried up there.
Oh yeah,
Climbing
Yeah,
up
that's
those
crazy.
towers,
Oh
trying
yeah,
to-
dude. Yeah, absolutely, man. I remember one time, man, we drove all the way up to like upstate Massachusetts. I'm talking like a 3-hour drive, man, on this mountain, and talking these microwave dishes that'll cook you and all. Like it's just wild, man. Like when you think about it, like these crazy things that we do just to get money. And like I said, man, that money's only gonna last for the next day, because whether it's
Yeah,
$5 or 500, I'm doing all 5 or 500
Right.
that day.
Yeah.
right.
Has
Listen,
anybody?
I was living a day at a time in my addiction.
Yeah.
That concept was not new to me. It's just
Yeah.
about completely changing that to a positive thing once I got sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anybody been to a scrapyard in sobriety?
I have.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Like a junkyard for cars.
We have to.
Well,
we have scrap
know.
metal at work all the time. We have to.
Yeah.
We have to take it.
All right. I'm just saying I don't believe in triggers necessarily, but that might be the one.
Yeah, I do a copper pipe all the time.
I'll tell you now.
Yeah.
Nowadays, like
You do lay the
looking
copper
at it,
pipe all the time, don't you,
I
Dan?
do.
looking at it now through a sober lens, though, those scrapyards are ripping people off.
Oh yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But
Really.
look who they're
fist.
dealing with. They're dealing with junkies like us.
Yeah. And those things are all mafia. I mean, all 100% through and through.
I'm looking
Dude,
up the
I
price
just
of
brought
copper
you
right
a
now.
flatbed load of steel, and you gave
Yeah.
me $51.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like, it's like selling cigarettes back in the 30s from the truck.
Yeah. What about like pawn shops and stuff? Like you guys ever?
Oh,
I was
yeah,
never
dude.
big. I never got big into the. I would just sell stuff. I never got big into the whole pawn shop phenomenon thing. But I would just
It's a super fun gamut, because when you go in there and I pawned my blower, my weed whacker, and something else. I go in there and I'm pawn this, and then I'm going to get it back in 2 weeks, right? That's it. In my head, I'm like, I'm going to pawn. My wife is not going to notice, and then I'm just going to get it back in 2 weeks when I get this money from this thing that I have with this guy and this stuff, and I'm doing. And then 2 weeks come and she's like, where's the blower? Where's the weed whacker? And it's like, oh, it's so crazy. What happened? And then it's just all the way through. It's so wild.
the stories we tell.
Uh,
What about you, Corey? Did you ever do pawn shop stuff?
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, yeah. Like most of my musical equipment went to pawn shops, and it's just sickening. My drum set for like $100. It was like a $2,000 drum set. What the fuck?
yeah. That's probably the worst part looking back, dude. Looking back when you think about it.
I will say that a couple things that I have today were from that time, and I only have them today because my mother went behind me a couple of times and bought things back like right away, and like I didn't know it. The other thing was I sold one of my guitars to a guy. That fucking dude just, thank God, he held on to it for years. And then when I went and made amends to him in sobriety, he still had it, and I bought it back from him.
I remember you telling me that story.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
I had a whole bunch of. I was into paintball at one point in my younger days, and I had probably like a $1,500, $2,000 worth of paintball equipment that I remember selling a bunch of it, not at one time, but like bits and pieces here and there.
And I sold.
That was my big
I sold 3 things. I had a 2001 Lexus IS 300. I sold that. That was purely money for drugs. I had a 36-inch X-Mark lawnmower. I paid like $3-4 grand for. I sold that for $2 grand. Purely money for drugs. Our TV or actually our TV in my own house. I took that down off the wall, and sold that too. And like it's just crazy when you look back. Like I was selling it with the idea of like money for this and that and the other thing, but I mean it's all just money for drugs.
Yeah,
It's wild.
don't steal TVs from hotels. They have tracking devices. The nicer hotels have tracking
Oh,
devices.
do they? I never
I
knew
learned
that.
that. I learned that the hard way.
That's good to know
Yeah.
in case I go back out.
What about you, Greg? Any pawn shop stuff? Any
I
play that
do.
game?
Not really much until towards the very end, and yeah, I definitely something that I regret. I pawned jewelry of my mother's, and one of those things that, unbeknownst to me at the time, because she would take it off because she's a nurse. It was her wedding ring. Thankfully, she was able to get that back. It was mere like days away from the consignment being up on it, and she was able to get it back. But yeah, man, shitty
That's
places.
grimy, Greg.
Yeah, very grimy, very grimy.
You were way worse than us. I my wife has a cool story about that. I might have even told her on the podcast, but she pawned, or I think she pawned or sold her mom's wedding ring, and she never got it back. The mom never was not able to get it back, and she was a few years sober, I think. And she was like, I can remember her talking to me about it, how guilty she felt, and she wouldn't mind me sharing this story. She shares it all the time at our recovery groups, but her cousin called her. Somebody passed away in the family, I believe, or was getting old, and they were going through stuff. And her cousin called her up. My wife's cousin called her one day and was like, "Hey, did you ever get your mom's ring back? This, and that." And Catherine goes, "No, not I didn't." She goes, "Well, I'm in so and so's attic, and we're going through stuff, and I found somebody in the family, had the exact same ring. I guess it was like whatever, it was the exact same ring, and." My wife was able to get it from the cousin and get it resized and reshaped and like give it back to her mom as like an amends, and before her dad passed away and all that, so her dad could be a part of it, which was that's a banger of a story when you're talking about the restitution phase of our addiction and our recovery. So guys, we got a few more minutes. Anybody? I got crazy stories. Anybody got anything else they want to, like, stories, grimy stuff, crazy stuff, encounters,
Well,
whatnot?
I mean, there's probably stories for days, but I do think it's important to talk about real quick, like how absolutely not just normal that all this stuff seemed, but like
No, right, you're right.
but
though.
like that's why it's a disease, right? That's what we're kind of talking about tonight. Like that's why it's a disease. It's not like any of us wanted to hurt the people that we pawn their shit or even hurt ourselves. But like, dude, I can tell you one thing: I never thought I would sell the guitar that I sold for $50, right? I mean, it meant that guitar had a lot of sentimental value to me, along with it cost a lot more money than that.
Mhm.
But like, this is the stuff we do, and it's, there's all, Sean, you don't have social media, but every now and again, I'm sure you guys see this shit too, about, for some reason, somebody likes to throw up the debate like, oh, well, addicts choose to be like this. They choose to do this, and it really just paints us as like the dirtbags, which we are. No one ever said that we aren't, right? But the fact is that addiction is
not as simple as we just choosing to be bad people, though. Yeah.
Addiction's classified as a disease, an illness, right, by the American Medical Association. It's a real thing that people are afflicted with, and whether or not you want to debate, I had somebody once tell me like, well, I think you probably chose to use a substance at first, and then afterwards it was beyond your control. I said, okay, that's fine. I kind of feel like I was destined for this regardless, but I'll reason with that.
I can see though the first time getting high. I can remember my first time getting high. I felt peer pressured into it, and somebody made me feel bad because I didn't get high, and I was like, yeah, I do. Like I'll show you. I can get down with like that was a choice, but I think once I got it, dude, once I felt it, once that it hit me, like all bets were off.
Well, and I'll say this: two drugs that I can most certainly say without a doubt. One, my first time using it was at the ripe old age of 12, and the other one was much later in my late 20s. But alcohol and heroin, the first time, like, yes, you make the choice. I firmly believe I made the choice, and there was like this welling up and knots in my stomach about it. It's like, oh, should I, shouldn't I, should I? And yeah, from the very first moment, it was like, okay, yeah, this is it. This is it right here.
Mm-hmm.
People often ask, well, what's it like? Like, what's it like when why would you do it for the first time? And what was it like the first time you did it? And it's like as
The greatest thing in the world.
over exaggerated as it sounds, I tell them, I'm like, you ever met God before?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
It's the greatest thing in the world. It truly is the most magnificent thing in the world. I agree.
And then it's not
I agree.
working.
Yeah.
And then that's all she wrote, baby.
Yeah. No, that's like when you have the debate with people, like Corey was saying, like, when people say the first one is a choice, and then like when I had that debate with me, I go with that. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with that. You know what I mean? But if people say that you're having a choice after the fact, you know what I mean? And that's like my little different perspective from you guys, because I got it all the time, dude. Because I had a child while I was in the throes of this, and everyone is, I don't understand why you can't just stop. You know what I mean? You have a kid. You're ruining his life. What are you doing? Why can't you just stop? And go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, why can't people with severe autism just be normal?
Yeah.
Why can't like then? That's why I try to refrain
Corey.
anymore for myself for having those preconceived notions about other people, because I don't know what the hell they're going through. You know what I'm saying? The same way as people didn't know what the hell we were going through either.
Well, and Dan, like you're saying, like the truth, and it even says so in some of the literature we have, the truth of it is that we don't know why we can't stop, right? Like, I remember telling a probation officer, like, I fucked up again, and here we are, and I'm about to get the book thrown at me. And I literally told her, I was like, I don't know what happened. I don't know why it doesn't make sense. And she was like, because you're a drug addict, Corey, like, you need to come to grips with that. And I was like, no.
Well, and that's a perfect little tease for probably what we'll get into next week about that kind of stuff, and accepting our disease, and accepting that we have this thing, and that we don't have any control over it, and that our willpower is non-existent, and all that stuff. So
yeah, like it or not, like that's what I would say. I don't argue the point either, Dan, and I certainly don't get into it on social media. I don't hardly talk to anybody on social media. I try not to, but that's what I would say is like,
yeah, you haven't accepted my friend request, dude.
Sean, you need to get up on here. You need to join us in the trenches of this bullshit.
Hey, we can close out with this, because Janine is a witness. Janine personally tried to create me a Facebook account a few weeks ago when we were having dinner at my mom's house. And both the emails that I have, that I use, my Gmail account, my Yahoo, that I've had for years, she tried to input, and both of them, I forget what happened, but it wouldn't create an account for me. It said that it already has an account associated with it or something. And you see, she just put in the chat, she tried for over an hour. So because my wife is going to take another crack at it soon. So God doesn't want me to have one. What can I say?
Well, God wants you to be happy, joyous, and free, and he doesn't want us three to be happy, joyous. He wants us to see the political bullshit and the fucking memes and everything else. So
yeah,
that's great.
Good stuff, guys. This was fun tonight. I do enjoy. There's a good time and a place, and to tell some good war stories and laugh a little bit. If we scared any of our listeners into getting sober, good. If we scared any of our friends and family that are listening to this, or brought up some bad memories, we apologize. But as always, shout out to our listeners. Please like, follow, and share on all socials at Trudge Report Pod. You can email us at trudgereportpod@yahoo.com. Send in your mailbag requests for topics, questions, and comments to any of these handles. Remember, we are all here if anyone wants to talk about recovery, our experiences, or if you're struggling with some form of addiction. Thank you again to Janine and Stella Mix Podcast Management. Good night, God bless, and may you trudge the road of happy destiny. We will see you next week.